Hi guys, this is Joel Clear from the Gyms Group, and I'm with Daniel Henwood today, who's from Gym Security over in Glenelg North, which is your territory. So thanks for joining us today, Daniel.
No problems.
No worries. So what I want to do is just ask you first, what were you doing prior to gyms?
I was in electronics. We're still doing security, running my own business. Along the same lines, just not so dedicated to security, AV and automation, electronics in general.
Yeah. So what made you then come over to gyms? Because you had a pretty successful business before.
Probably the main thing was the brand. I had a lot of time for gyms in general, and then I was finding it a little bit tough to manage everything with advertising, maintaining the background, and lead generation and quality of leads was a bit of an issue for me. So that's probably the main thing, trying to, experimenting to try to get something a little bit better going.
Yeah, because you come from a different background, because most people obviously been working for someone for years and they go, well, I work for someone else. But you've actually had a successful business prior, but you've said those headaches where the marketing and the lead quality and things like that, you identified gyms as maybe something that could help you take away those headaches for yourself.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Cool. Now, you said before you had a good experience with gyms in general before coming into it. So what were your experiences with the brand prior?
Mainly with the antennas. So the antennas guys, working in a similar industry. I knew quite a few of the guys from around the place. And they've always had a good name. A lot of they tend to charge a little bit more than what we were charging, but still never had an issue getting that job. And the people didn't seem to care that we were a little bit cheaper. So the brand obviously means a lot to a lot of people. So.
Absolutely. And here you are. I looked at your ratings as well. I think you're 4.8 star rating at 280 ratings, which is quite a lot of ratings as well, especially for yours. So it's a credit to yourself and your business that you got there as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, okay. So what about you? So how are you loving finding gym security? You've been in for a couple of years now, I think. So how are you finding the whole thing? And is it what you expected?
It's pretty close to exactly what I was expecting. I mean, early on, I think the divisionals were still trying to find their feet a little bit. So it's got to the point now where there's more leads than what we can handle, and I've learned how to sell gyms as a brand a little bit better, and I think it's heading in the direction that I was kind of thinking when I started this process that we'd be at. So. Yeah.
Now let's talk about your business currently. What setup do you have? Do you have employees? Maybe give a bit of an insight into that.
So we have a few employees. So personally, I do a lot of the quoting and kind of assisting on site where guys are stuck with something. Then I'll help or do some tidy ups on jobs. We've got a few installers, an electrician, and then a salesman and an office admin person.
And what about the support from head office that you're currently getting? Because you're in the process of becoming a franchisor, I should say, as well. So what about the support you've experienced from the franchisors?
They've been really good. So whenever I need them, they're there. Having run my own business for quite a long time, a lot of the kind of standard stuff I'm pretty good at, I'm fine with. But yeah, they're always open to new ideas, and they've been great. Yeah, they've been great to deal with. So,
and let's talk about yourself becoming a franchisor. Maybe going to go a bit more detail about why you wanted to become that.
Probably more about opportunity. Managing employees has been difficult. Like I had patches where we had 9-10 guys on the road. And sorry, hang on a second, my camera's just gone off.
No problem.
So we had quite a few guys on the road, and we get to a certain level, then people want to go off and do their own things, which is understandable. We got 3 guys at the moment that have just left to go and start their own businesses. So I just find it really hard day to day to manage. And I like the idea of helping people run their own business more so than managing employees working for me.
Makes sense. And maybe do you want to go into a bit about the training that you will offer, or the support that you would offer from your side?
Yeah, so that's the idea, is that I think the benefit of being in the industry is that I can help guys develop their businesses and make more of a sustainable income away from purely based on leads. So hopefully their margins are a little bit better because they know their product's a little bit better, and they can build something a little bit more away, which in turn also works for the franchisor side, opening up leads for more franchises. So I'm hoping that having those skills will help the guys that are already around the place develop their skills a little bit to grow.
And what sort of person are you looking for? Do you have a lot of experience in hiring people and things like that? So what would make a good franchisee for security?
Someone that understands it's not running their own business isn't going to be easy. What you get out is what you put in, generally speaking. And that has an interest in, you don't necessarily need an interest in electronics, I don't think. I think the physical side is doesn't really matter. We can teach you anything. Having a personality and good communication skills is probably the only real prerequisite that I would say, is that you got to be able to talk to people. They have to be able to, they have to want to speak to you and want you in their house. So that's probably, as far as I'm concerned, that's the biggest key.
And everyone always talks about income and things like that. So you don't have to go into specifics, but what's level of income, or is it a good level of income that someone can make from running a security business?
Yeah, it's obviously very dependent on the person and how much work and how much time. It depends if you're doing this for a lifestyle or whether you're doing it for income, like making the most you possibly can. It would be on what I would expect most people to say is a very high side if you put the hours in, but I wouldn't expect anyone to be on less than 80 and working very casually. So the income side I would expect to be pretty good. My franchise at the moment that I run does about 175, 180 that we run with my business.
Which is great money. And in your business as well, being a franchise owner currently, you've got employees or some staff, I think, in your capacity, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and you're not penalised or anything with that, are you? You don't have to pay any extra fees, or there's nothing like that, is there?
No.
Yeah. So I think what people need to realise as well, if you do have a franchise, you can, like Daniel, expand it as well. If you're able to take on the work and manage employees and stuff, and you don't have to pay anything extra.
No. The only difference is I've got to pay more for leads.
If
I'm reliant on leads only, I'm still going to be only getting the same amount of leads as the next franchise, the franchise alongside me. So.
Absolutely. Now, do you want to go about the services that you offer yourself? Maybe just give people a bit of insight into gym security, what you can provide.
Yeah. So we do all alarm systems, integration of access control, CCTV. So probably in the domestic side, it's mainly alarms, like door sensors, motion detection, access via your phone, and then CCTV is along the same sort of lines. So accessing off your mobile phone, general camera systems.
And is it commercial stuff as well come through, or?
Yeah, we do quite a bit of commercial panels like Inception, where we can set them to detect pretty much anything. We've got a site that does facial recognition, and they do cigarette distribution. So you basically swipe in and it scans your face to let you in.
And what are people like commonly asking for now? Is it becoming something that people are asking more for? Have you seen a trend over the last couple of years with security and things like that?
Yeah, definitely number one would be domestic cameras. So they've become affordable for quite a good product. And that's definitely the item that we do the most of. So.
Where do you see the industry heading in the next 5 years? Do you see, is it something as the prices keep coming down, more and more people are going to want access to these systems?
Yeah, it'll be an automation side. So integrating all your electronics or all your devices into one place. That kind of seems to be the way most things are going.
Yeah, and that's something you guys can obviously provide, is the home automation solution with multiple things.
Yeah. So at the moment, it's a little bit limited. Like you have to go to a third-party controller to integrate everything into one. But as time goes by, it's going to be each provider will be able to do their own control.
And because there's new devices always coming out, how do you keep up with the trends and things like that?
Yeah, so we have a training day every second week. At the moment, we're putting together, you can probably see in the background, a training board with a few security panels and things on it. And then there's wholesalers and things that come along and do us a bit of training here and there.
That's great. Every couple of weeks you do that?
Every second Friday. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because I just the reason why I want to mention that it's not just it's such if you like learning new things, it's always changing. Right, you never get bored, would you?
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, it changes a lot. So every 6 months, roughly, someone releases a new series. So
yeah,
we're constantly swapping and changing brands.
Absolutely. So, what are some other popular systems, or is there some set brands or something that you guys use all the time, or that on the website that you recommend, or?
Yeah, so definitely for CCTV, it's Hikvision would be number one. For both domestic and commercial, it's a very good range of product, affordable and good quality. And then you jump probably down a little bit of a next level across to your Dawas and your Swans. Still very good, reliable products. Depending on what you're looking for, all of them have good apps and easy to use. And then as far as all the alarms go, there's not a lot between most of them on the website. I mean, we're currently using Hills Alarms. They got a nice new app. So.
And what's the typical sort of day look like for yourself, or what would a franchisee's typical day like, or week?
Yeah, so my guys, or the way we work is 8 a.m. is start time on site. So you go and do an install for the day. Depending on what it is, like if it's a 4-camera system, you're probably done by 12 o'clock-ish, and there might be a service call go and do a repair on the way through. And then if you were doing it as a franchise, you would then go to quoting. And that's the way that I was doing it. So like 3:30 till 5 o'clock, when people start getting home from work, is usually the time that I would start my quotes. Whereas, in my guys' case, they just go home.
And you said before, it's pretty much open to anyone, but you'd want people who are good with customer service, and those sort of people skills is the main thing.
That is the most important thing for sure. Yeah. It's pretty competitive. Everything's pretty competitive. So for the brand to win out a little bit, you need someone that represents it well.
Yeah, and also that peace of mind, customers, as you said before, are willing to pay a bit more when it's the gym's brand behind it.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I've had lots of issues over time with having trades at my house that haven't done a very good job. What do you do when that's the case? You don't want to go and fight them in court. I mean, gyms gives you a really easy way of policing that. So,
absolutely. What advice would you give to anyone who's thinking about it or wanting to start to join? Is there a trial day, or how can they do more find out more about the opportunity?
Yeah, so we do. We've got a couple of guys doing ride-alongs this week. So all you do is really send through an inquiry, and then we'll get in touch and we can have a chat about how it looks and what you're kind of expecting to get out of it. And if you're interested in going from there, then come out and do a ride-along. Yeah,
I think that's the main thing for people. So what would they go through on a ride-along? Just go to a couple of jobs and they can just ask the franchisee as many questions as they want, or?
Yeah, so we got someone doing a ride-along today. Basically, he is helping feed through cables and doing some basic fitting off things. He's coming with me next week as well. I've booked up 7 quotes back to back to do with him. And he will come along and go through each quote and show, and I'll run through like why I would say something to that person, or how you design it individually for each person and their circumstances.
Absolutely.
And the budget really as well.
Oh, great. Well, how long is that process as well from, let's say, maybe inquiring to maybe starting? Was there training that needs to be done before that, or what's the process?
Yeah, so there's a fair bit of licensing involved. So the process, I think realistically, is probably a month at best from when you start doing some trainings and doing some ride-alongs. You can kind of tick 2 at the same time. Like you can do, most of the courses are online. And then you've got some in-person training to do as well. But I would say roughly a month would be best case scenario. 6 weeks is probably a bit more realistic.
Absolutely, yeah. Just to make it clear for people, it's you've got to do the qualification or the training, and I think with the security stuff, there's background checks and things as well, isn't there, to be?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So the paperwork side of it can take a little bit of time to get going. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, is there anything else you want to maybe mention, Daniel, that I haven't asked you about the business?
No, I think it's been pretty thorough at this stage.
I know you're a busy man, so I'll let you go. So if anyone's in South Australia especially, or in general, make sure to inquire. And Dan's the man if you're going to do the security franchise over there. And it's a good one from talking to yourself and Sean as well. It's a good one to be in. Just from hearing about the income levels and things like that. So
I think the income levels, and if it's something that you want to do for your lifestyle wise, I can't see a better option. Like I don't know of one, and I've been kind of around this running our own business for 20 years. I can't see any sort of better solution.
Now,
I don't know of anything.
Well, when you say the lifestyle wise, what do you mean by that? Like, is that just because you have that flexibility, or is it just, what's it about?
It's both, yeah. So
Yeah.
if you have days where you want to work harder, you get the lifestyle benefit of making more money. If you want to take more time off and spend more time with the kids and only work 5 or 6 hours a day, then you've got that option as well. So I think you can kind of play it both ways, or you can mix the two together. I don't know too many other ways to be able to do that.
And that's great hearing that from someone like yourself, who's a really experienced business owner prior as well. And that's why it's great to have you on board with the gym stuff, because you've gone from running a really successful operation to this successful operation under a brand now, just to take away some of those pain points, which is a really interesting thing. Yeah. All right. No worries, Daniel. Thanks for that. I'll leave it there, and thanks for your time.
Thanks, Joel.
Thanks, Daniel. See you, mate.
Bye.
Cheers.